Joining us to talk about all this, Monica Crowley, former Assistant Treasury Secretary, and Katie Miller, former Comms Director for Vice President Pence. Katie Miller, Kellyanne's spot on. You know, she really always gets it right. And Katie, I just think this is pretty rude and disgusting and low down. We couldn't fire the Obama appointees. We had to live with them for a couple of years until their terms went out. Now, Biden is trying to fire all the Trump appointees because of his derangement syndrome. What do you think about all this? Is Kellyanne right and the others not to resign?
Larry, what I'll say is that it sets a bad precedent, because what's next? Is he going to ransack and remove the Trump appointees of the board of the Holocaust Museum? You know, what we're seeing now is that the future precedent for this will be when a Republican administration comes in to ransack every board across the government. And what's a term really mean anymore? 2, 3, 5, 10-year terms will be reduced down to just as long as that individual retains the presidency. Kellyanne's right. General Jack Keane, General H.R. McMaster are more than qualified to serve on these boards. And by doing a blanket removal, all he's doing is politicizing more things that shouldn't be politicized in a time when he's failing across the board at the border, at Afghanistan, keep going, inflation. Joe Biden should be focused on those crises, not necessarily the smaller boards that are doing fine without his meddling.
I know, I'm telling you, it's the most low-down punk thing. Let's talk about small beer, Monica. Monica, here's the honor roll. So Kellyanne, they want to get rid of. Kellyanne's on the Air Force. Russ Vaught, the budget director's on the Naval Academy. General Jack Keane, West Point. I mean, Jack Keane knows a little something about West Point, wouldn't you think? Sean Spicer, Naval Academy. H.R. McMaster, West Point. And by the way, even away from that, I didn't know this, but Steve Hanke, a distinguished economist, John Yoo, a distinguished lawyer, those guys are being fired from this Department of Education board. Monica Crowley, does Biden have the power to do this? I thought you could only dismiss them for cause or if they never go to a meeting. Does he really have the power to fire these people?
Well, the law on this, Larry, is very unclear, so it's never been adjudicated, so we shall see. Sean Spicer said he's going to bring a legal challenge, so we'll see how it plays out. But the bigger points, Larry, twofold. One, Biden and everyone in his administration is intent on erasing Donald Trump and his administration from history to try to turn the Trump administration into a historical aberration. And secondly, when Democrats are in power, they exercise raw power. When Republicans are in power, they tend to still behave as if they're in the minority. Republicans should take a page from the Democrats' playbook and understand when they're in power, they should exercise the kind of power that Democrats do without apology.
Wow. Katie Miller, did you hear what Monica just... Monica's tough. She's really tough. What do you think of that? Sheer raw power. See, I think, okay, it's so goofy. The way to get at the Bidens for doing this punk rock thing that they're doing, small beer, low politics, is fight it. I mean, if Sean Spicer's going to bring a legal case, fine, fight it. I got to get out of here. Monica Crowley, Katie Miller.